Hi, my name's Ben Allen. Today I'm joined by Mendhi Audlin. I know Mindy through the Evergreen Rotary Club, but recently she presented to our Denver Rotary Club, our first virtual meeting that we've had in the face of the crisis our country and world are dealing with right now. And it really struck me that it would be awesome for her to be part of an interview with us today because she has wisdom and experience that I think is just awesome. So, Mindy, thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Ben. It's great to be here.
I thought I'd just start off right into my favorite part of your presentation. I want to talk about the Gallup poll that you shared with us. Can you talk to me a little bit about what that Gallup poll told us as a Rotary Club the other day?
Yeah, well, most of us are familiar with the Gallup organization. They've been around for 80 years. They've been asking us questions and polling us through other hard times. They've been there through the Depression. They've been there through 9/11. They've been there 2008, 2009 through the financial crisis there. And they're here now. And they posted something a few weeks ago, right after this crisis began, talking about one of their broadest studies that they had done to date on leadership. And the focus of this particular study was they were going to followers and asking people who were followers, what is it that you are looking for in your leaders? And they found there were four things that were the most common things that people were looking for, which I thought were very significant. So I'm going to share with you. And I always like to ask people to think about, what do you think it is? Like, before like, what do you think of when you think of the people that are leaders that you want to follow? Like, what is it about those leaders that inspires you to want to go wherever they're taking you? So this is what Gallup organization found, and I'm going to start. There's four of them, and I'll share with you a little about my favorite one, which is number 4. But here's the first one, and you can see if you agree and how much this matters to you. So the first thing they found was compassion. Like, we're looking for leaders who are compassionate. We're looking for people who can connect with us, who see us as individuals, as human beings. That makes a lot of sense. Second thing they found was that followers are looking for leaders that they can trust. We want to know that when you tell us something, that it is the truth and that we can believe in you. And that makes a lot of sense too. The other thing that we want in leaders, which is something that is very applicable to today, is we're looking for stability. And when that stability is shaken, like it is in these times, we look to our leaders to have that sense of, like, help us stabilize, help us feel like we're on solid ground again. And then the fourth thing, and the one that is really my area of expertise, is hope and inspiration. So we're looking for leaders that can be real with us and compassionate with us, but we're also looking for leaders who have a vision for where we can go together, who can inspire us to be
Yeah.
hopeful in the midst of whatever's going on around us, and to inspire us to not be paralyzed by the uncertainty of the times, but to be inspired by what we can do here and now to move into the future that they're painting for us.
So tell me a little bit about your company, the What If Club. Uh, I want to hear more about what you do with leaders right now that relates to that hope and inspiration that you just talked about.
Yeah, so we work with entrepreneurs, small business owners, organizational leaders, civic organizations, clearly, as you shared. And what we do is we help people identify where we are. And these days, that is a constantly changing thing. We want leaders that can say, okay, here's the situation now. Here's where things are now. And we want it to be authentic, and we want it to be real. We want to be able to trust that. And we want leaders that can say, here's where we are now, but here's where we're going to take it. So this is what we're going to create out of this. This is the light at the end of the tunnel. We want leaders who can articulate that. And then as we are able to articulate that, then we want to mobilize the team together to be able to brainstorm, to access our creative capacities, to say, well, how do we get there? If this is where we are and this is where we want to go, then let's figure out the how together. And these days, the how, every day, it can be a shifting strategy, because every day, for the past couple of weeks, we've had additional limitations. Now you can't, be around people,
Yeah.
and now you can't leave your house, and now you can't do anything but essential errands. And so we've had all these limitations, and every day there's something new. But every day we have the capacity, through our imagination, through our creativity, to be able to explore ways around it. And the way we do it is with this process. Begins with what if, accessing our imagination. What if we try this? What if we try that? We do this very intentionally. We do this, we call it what if upping, because, a lot of people will what if down and say, well, what if it doesn't work? And what if I can't? And what if I lose my job? And what if I can't recover? And we go down this spiral of fear, which is very much paralyzing. It makes us not want to do anything because we don't know what to do. So we help people turn around that mindset and to look for possibilities, brainstorming what if scenarios. So there's a creative piece of it, and then there's also a discerning piece of it. We see that there's lots of ways through, which for a lot of people right now, that's the big hurdle, is we don't see a way through. And so we tap into our imagination, find multiple ways through, and then we take it into a discernment process to see, okay, of these ideas, what's ours to do here and now, and then to move forward one step at a time. I think that's the evolving paradigm of leadership, is 5-year plans are kind of ridiculous right now, because
Yeah.
it's like 5-day plan is a little bit of a stretch these days. We've got to be able to be nimble and to be innovative and to be constantly looking at, here's where we are, here's where we're going, now what, and now what, and now what.
I think I want to get a little specific on you, if I may, that again, driving home this point of hope and inspiration. You talked about how the leaders really need to articulate the vision, and we need to show people the light at the end of the tunnel. But a lot of us leaders, we're really scared. We're fearful. We have to be careful about not showing that. And again, when you say you have to be authentic, authentic means we really do need to believe that things can be better. You touched on that a little bit philosophically, and I'm curious if you can provide some real world examples how, as a leader, how can I really believe and take on this attitude that there are opportunities out of this whole process. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And my personal philosophy of leadership is that until I feel lined up with it, I don't take action. If I'm not feeling that hope and inspiration, I've got no business getting up there and saying, hey guys, it's going to be okay. If I'm not somewhere inside of me feeling like it's going to be okay, we're going to make it through this. I also believe in the power of the mastermind, which is a Napoleon Hill term from the book Think and Grow Rich. He studied Andrew Carnegie and how he found his riches. He did it through coming together with other leaders and sharing our fears, sharing our challenges, finding a group of people that we can absolutely trust and say, here's the obstacles that I'm facing. Here's where it looks like a dead end, and coming together with others to help us see a way through before we then go to our teams and go to our people and say, hey, there is a light at the tunnel. Hey, this is an opportunity for us. Hey, at the end of this, we're going to be emerging, and I truly believe this, we're going to be emerging into a whole new world. And those of us who are not afraid right now, those of us who can look at what's happening and see the needs that are around us and can lean into that with creativity and with purpose and with passion, we're going to emerge from this stronger than we've ever been. And the potential is to take some of the old systems that were broken, and now it's like, okay, everything has gotten shaken up. So what do we want to create from this? It's like you just mix it all up, and when we put it back together, what if we do it more consciously? What if we do it intentionally? What if all the scaling back helps us to be more efficient with our resources? I see the huge possibility that is here for us as leaders to create from this sense of everything getting mixed up a little bit. It's not necessarily saying it's going to be an easy way through, but I think as leaders, it's important for us to communicate to our teams, to our customers, to ourselves, that there is possibility in this if we choose to look for where is the possibility in this. What can we create that is good from this situation that is so challenging for so many?
That's awesome. I like what you're saying. And I actually am unfamiliar with Mastermind. You gave an explanation of it. It sounds like a peer advisory board.
Yes.
Is that what it is business leaders coming together?
Very, very, yeah, that's the idea. And there's different ways to do it, but the idea is that we are better together, that we are greater than the sum of our parts, and that when we come together, Napoleon Hill describes it as coming together in a spirit of harmony for a specific purpose. And he says, when we come together, we access, he calls it an invisible, intangible power that he calls the mastermind. That in coming together, it's not just me and what I know and you and what you know, but when we come together and focus on a challenge together, we access this creativity and this flow that is beyond what any of us bring as individuals. So
Yeah.
we use this process of creativity and discernment by bringing people together, bringing together organizational leaders, bringing together teams, bringing together entrepreneurs, whatever it is that you want to create. We bring people together that have similar interests, similar focus, similar expertise. And when we come together and share, okay, here's my block, or here's my dream, and here's where I want to go, or here's where I'm stuck, to be able to have like a peer advisory team, we use specific processes to help us find that silver lining. Because I think if we're just going in with our problems and sharing our resources, that's helpful. I think it's even more helpful when we first begin with thinking outside the box, thinking beyond our problems, and thinking, it's like, is there something possible here that maybe I haven't quite considered yet? And coming together with others who are not attached to what you're working on, who maybe don't have the limiting ideas based on, people have experience like, well, this didn't work in the past, but someone else doesn't know that. So we get ideas that maybe we've shut down, but maybe it's time to reconsider those. And there's just incredible power, I think, in coming together with others.
Mendhi, this is wonderful. I think my only last comment on what you're sharing is that having been a business leader for quite some time, I felt that it really was lonely at the top,
Yeah.
and I needed other business leaders to interact with, even on a personal level, because I needed that. So I really appreciate your time you spent with us today. This is great information. I'm going to include all of your contact information at the end of the presentation, but thank you so much, Mendhi. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And thank you, Ben, for inviting me to be here. This is really great to be able to share.
Great. Thank you.